We've all been told that to be successful women, we need to have it all. The perfect career, the ideal personal life, and everything in between. But what if I told you that the pressure to balance it all is the very thing that's holding us back? In this video, I am flipping the script on the outdated idea of work-life balance and showing you how to create a life that works for you without the guilt, without the burnout, and without the need to conform. Let's redefine what it really means to be that woman. If you've watched me here on YouTube before, then welcome back. But if you are new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Dr. Kim Foster, and I'm an MD turned coach and wellness expert. Now, before we get into things, I just want to quickly mention my brand new vlog channel that I very recently started together with my husband. Over there, we are sharing a behind the scenes look at our life. And if you're interested in seeing exactly how we apply everything that I talk about on this channel in real life, like healthy habits and wellness routines, along with how we are working on designing a location-independent lifestyle, then I would love it if you came over and checked it out. The link to that channel is in the description below. Okay, so back to today's topic about why I am over work-life balance and what I'm doing instead. So several years ago, I was chasing balance like it was some magical formula. I thought that if I could just find the right way to juggle everything, I would finally be that woman who has it all together. But here's what I have learned. Trying to balance everything perfectly, it's not only impossible for me, it was actually making me miserable. And that's when everything changed. Back then, I was living in a world where I believed that I had to excel at everything to be successful. I would spend my days racing from work to family to social commitments, trying to squeeze in a bit of self-care while still feeling like I was falling short. I was constantly exhausted and the pressure was overwhelming. I remember one night sitting at my desk just drowning in emails and to-dos and thinking, is this really what it means to be successful? And by the way, if that sounds familiar, if you can relate to that, I would love to hear about it. Drop me a note in the comments right now to let me know. But the turning point for me was when I realized that the pursuit of balance was actually making me very unhappy. I was constantly feeling like I was failing, like I wasn't doing enough at work or at home or even for myself. But then one day I was talking with my coach at the time who said something that hit me hard. She asked, "Why are you trying to do it all? What would happen if you just focused on what truly matters to you?" And honestly, that was my wake-up call. It was the moment that I realized that I needed to redefine success on my own terms. I've talked about this in previous videos where I break down what I consider to be the fairly toxic that girl trend, where there's a lot of pressure, it seems, to include everything in your day, perfectly curated and aesthetically pleasing, looking the same as every other female who is on a personal development and wellness journey. And instead, how I feel way more drawn to what I call a that woman philosophy, which is much more, mature and seasoned for one thing, but also reflects a lot more confidence because you don't have to conform to what everyone else is doing. And instead, you're cultivating daily routines and a lifestyle that works for you. I will link that video right here, by the way, if you are interested in checking that out. So even after that realization though, I hesitated. Letting go of the idea of balance felt really risky, like I was admitting defeat. I worried about what people would think if I started saying no to things or if I prioritized myself over my work. I was really afraid of being seen as not enough. I remember one time when I tried to keep up the balancing act, I just totally ignored what my own body was telling me, that I was just trying to do way too much. And I said yes to an additional responsibility at work that I really should have said no to. And I ended up feeling even more burned out than ever. And in fact, ended up with the absolute worst and scariest migraine I'd ever had and found myself inside a CT scan machine to make sure I didn't have anything worse than a migraine going on inside my head, like an aneurysm. And it was all just to prove that I could do it all. After that, I knew that something had to change. Around that time, I was listening to a podcast that really resonated with me. It talked about the importance of focusing on what truly matters rather than trying to be everything to everyone. And then I encountered a quote by Brené Brown. She said, "You can't have it all, but you can have what matters most." This quote perfectly captured what I was starting to believe but was struggling to articulate. It's not about trying to balance everything, but rather it's about prioritizing and making space for what is most important to you. It was like a light bulb went off. I realized that I didn't need to balance everything perfectly. I just needed to prioritize what was most important to me. This new perspective gave me the confidence to start making some serious changes. So I made a decision. I started setting boundaries at work, saying no to things that didn't align with my goals, and making time for what truly brought me joy. I also started setting better boundaries in my personal life too. I had always wanted to say yes to every invitation and every event, and also do all the things that I thought I was supposed to do, like hosting a big neighborhood Christmas party every year, and things that look great on paper and make for great pictures and Instagram posts, but just really weren't aligned with my desire to simplify and prioritize. I also made the conscious decision to simplify the scheduled activities that I was signing my boys up for. There are endless clubs and sports and activities that kids can do these days, and it's super easy to just fill up the entire week with all kinds of stuff. And it can feel like you're being a bad mom if you don't do that. But I started viewing things through a filter of how much does this really matter? And who am I doing this for anyway? Is it for them or is it for me? Am I signing them up for stuff because it makes me feel like a better mom? Or is this something that they are really enjoying and are getting real benefit out of? I started being a lot more intentional with our time as a family and what we were bringing into our days and our weeks. I stopped chasing perfection and I started focusing on what really mattered. It definitely wasn't easy. There were a lot of times when I felt guilty or I doubted myself, but I knew that this was the path that I needed to take. Were there challenges? Definitely. Not everyone understood my choices. Some people questioned why I wasn't doing it all anymore, but I had to remind myself that this was my journey, not theirs. The biggest challenge, though, was overcoming my own internal doubts. There were times when I wondered if I was being selfish or if I would regret not pushing myself harder. But every time that I stayed true to my priorities, I felt a weight lift off of my shoulders. I really started to feel like I was finally living on my own terms. Since embracing this new mindset, my life has transformed. I no longer feel the constant pressure to balance everything perfectly. I have totally owned that there are some things that many people do that I just don't really care about, and I have consciously eliminated from my life. Instead, I focus on what truly matters to me, and that has made all the difference. My career is thriving, and I was able to make a huge shift in that career, in fact, and I'm also making time for the things that bring me joy without the guilt. I feel more empowered, more fulfilled, and much more in control of my life than ever before. So here's what I've learned. Balance doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means doing what's most important to you. Let go of the pressure to have it all, and instead focus on what brings you joy and fulfillment. Your version of success does not have to look anything like anyone else's. Trust me, when you stop chasing balance and start living intentionally, everything changes. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How do you prioritize what matters the most to you? And if you're ready to join me in redefining success on your own terms, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Remember, you do not have to balance it all. You just have to be true to yourself. If you enjoyed this video, then I think that you are going to love the one that I'm linking on the next screen, which goes more into my thoughts around becoming that woman in terms of your daily routines, as an alternative to the that girl trend. I will see you over there. I'm Dr. Kim Foster, and I'm an, why do I always stumble over that bit? So a few years ago, I think this is a tea moment. Actually quite enjoying this tea. Okay, onwards.